Have you ever felt like your mind is pulling you in 100 directions at once? Like you're trying to stay calm, stay focused, stay present, but life keeps grabbing you by the collar and dragging you into chaos? Maybe you try meditation. Maybe you try productivity hacks. Maybe you try being positive. But the same storm returns. The same thoughts. The same pressure. The same feeling that you're losing control of your own mind. Most people live like this every day. Not because they are weak, but because they are fighting a battle they don't understand. But thousands of years ago, in ancient China, there was a man who saw this struggle clearly. A sage who believed that mastery doesn't come from force or willpower or constant self-punishment, but from learning how to move with life instead of against it. His name was Lao Tzu, and his system became the foundation of Taoist discipline, a way of training the mind so deeply that calm becomes your natural state, not something you chase. This is not about suppressing emotions. It's not about fighting distractions. It's not about becoming a monk who lives in silence. It's about learning how to flow, how to yield, how to empty the mind, and how to move through the world with effortless clarity. In this video, we'll explore Lao Tzu's ancient discipline, the teachings that shaped warriors, emperors, monks, and mystics for thousands of years. But before we begin, let me tell you a story about a man whose life was slowly falling apart until he discovered a path he never knew existed. A path hidden in stillness. A path written in paradox. A path that begins the moment you stop chasing control and start understanding it. Chapter 1. The battle you don't know you're fighting. There's a battle happening inside you every single day. A battle most people never see. A battle you were never trained for. A battle that drains your strength long before you even realize you've been fighting. And it begins the moment you open your eyes. Before you speak, before you think, before you decide anything consciously, your mind is pulled into motion, a fast, restless, heavy motion that feels automatic. You wake up, and your thoughts are already moving. They race from the past to the future, from fear to desire, from worry to distraction. And this movement never stops. This is the silent war Lao Tzu understood long before the modern world existed. The war within the mind, not against others, not against circumstances, not against fate, but against the internal forces that push you, pressure you, and pull you away from your center. The mind that runs without you. Most people believe they are in control of their thoughts. But if you sit still for even a few seconds, you quickly realize something uncomfortable. Your mind doesn't listen to you. It jumps on its own. It reacts on its own. It chases noise and stories and fears without permission. Your mind is like a river after a storm, fast, muddy, loud, violent. The more you try to control it, the harder it pushes back. Lao Tzu observed this human condition thousands of years ago. He saw that the mind, when left untrained, becomes a wild horse, powerful but uncontrollable, a creature that drags you across mental terrain you never chose to enter. Thoughts become storms. Emotions become tides. Worries become chains. And you, the true you, become a passenger instead of the rider. This is the battle you don't know you're fighting, because the enemy is inside the walls. You've been fighting the wrong way. Modern culture tells you to fight your mind directly. Control your thoughts. Force positivity. Overpower your fears. Push harder. Discipline yourself. But Lao Tzu taught something radically different. He believed that trying to dominate the mind through force is like trying to stop a river with your bare hands. The more you resist, the stronger it becomes. The more you push your thoughts away, the more they return. The more you tell yourself to be calm, the more restless you feel. This is why people meditate for years and still feel anxious. Why people build routines but still collapse under pressure. Why people chase discipline but never feel disciplined inside. They are fighting the wrong enemy. They are fighting the wrong battle. They are using force in a place where force only creates more chaos. This is the first lesson of Lao Tzu. Fighting the mind directly is the reason you lose. The battle is subtle, not loud. You don't lose this inner war in big, dramatic moments. You lose it in small ones, almost invisible ones. The first anxious thought when you wake up. The tension in your shoulders that you ignore. The pressure to check your phone before you've even stood up. The moment your mind jumps into the future and imagines a problem that doesn't exist yet. The quiet irritation that builds when something doesn't go your way. Each moment seems small. Individually, they look harmless. But together, they form a current, a mental river that pushes you away from peace, away from clarity, away from yourself. This is how people lose their center long before the day even begins. Not through explosions, but through tiny fractures, micro-reactions, small tensions, little storms. Lao Tzu understood that this is the true battlefield. Not the world outside, but the space inside where your thoughts shape your reality. Why the mind fights itself. Lao Tzu believed the mind becomes chaotic when it forgets its natural way, the Tao. In Taoist philosophy, the mind is supposed to be like water, clear, adaptable, still when left undisturbed. But water becomes turbulent when stirred, and your mind becomes turbulent when life keeps stirring it without pause. The world around you constantly throws noise into your head. Expectations, deadlines, opinions, judgments, digital distractions, regrets, fears, desires, emotional residue from people around you. Your mind absorbs all of it. It holds on to everything, even things that aren't yours. And because no one teaches you how to empty the mind, it becomes heavy. Heavy with thoughts, heavy with tension, heavy with expectations. This weight becomes the battlefield. You aren't fighting life. You're fighting the inner clutter you've been carrying for years. The enemy, the busy mind. Lao Tzu warned about one specific enemy, a force more destructive than fear, anger, or even pain. The busy mind. A mind that is constantly full, constantly loud, constantly working, even when nothing important is happening. Most people think this busyness means productivity, but Lao Tzu saw it differently. A busy mind is unfocused. A busy mind cannot see clearly. A busy mind reacts instead of choosing. A busy mind becomes exhausted by its own movement. A busy mind loses its natural power. In Taoism, a full mind is a weak mind. An empty mind is a powerful one. But emptiness doesn't mean numbness. It doesn't mean losing emotion. It doesn't mean becoming passive. Emptiness means space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to respond instead of react. Space to choose your next step with clarity. This is the heart of Taoist discipline. The truth, you've been fighting yourself. The chaos you feel inside isn't life attacking you. It's your mind struggling against itself, wanting peace but feeding noise, seeking calm but fueling resistance. You chase control through force, when the ancient way taught control through surrender. You chase discipline through pressure, when the ancient way taught discipline through flow. You chase clarity through thinking harder, when the ancient way taught clarity through letting go. Lao Tzu would say, you are fighting yourself and wondering why you cannot win. The first chapter of your transformation begins with this realization. The real enemy is not your thoughts. It's your relationship to your thoughts. When you see this clearly, something shifts. There's a pause, a small moment of honesty, a recognition that the struggle has never been external. It's always been internal. And in that pause, you discover the path forward, not the path of struggle, not the path of force, not the path of harsh discipline, but the path Lao Tzu walked, the path of soft power, effortless clarity, and the quiet strength that comes from mastering what happens within you. This is the battle most people never realize they're in. But now that you see it, Chapter 2, the Tao of emptying the mind. Most people think an overloaded mind is a sign that they're working hard. They take pride in being busy, being overwhelmed, being constantly plugged into something. But Lao Tzu saw this very differently. He believed that a full mind is actually a weak mind. A cluttered mind reacts instead of choosing. It panics instead of perceiving. It drowns out the truth instead of noticing it. To him, strength begins with subtraction, not with adding more rules, more ideas, more pressure, or more discipline, but with clearing space. He called it returning to emptiness. And to understand what he meant, imagine a quiet courtyard in ancient China. A thin river of morning mist moves through the garden. A single bamboo leaf shakes, then settles again. A student sits cross-legged on cool stone, frustrated after hours of trying to meditate. His face is tense. His mind is loud. He keeps trying to force himself into focus. He keeps commanding his thoughts to leave. But an old sage sitting beside him stays still. The sage doesn't fight anything. He doesn't force anything. He lets every moment happen as it is. When the student finally gives up, the sage opens his eyes and speaks. You don't empty the mind by chasing thoughts away. You empty it by no longer feeding them. This is the heart of Lao Tzu's discipline. The mind becomes heavy when you tighten your grip. The mind becomes light when you loosen it. And this is where the Taoist path begins. The weight you don't notice. Lao Tzu believed that most mental suffering comes from invisible weight, expectations, anxiety, the urge to prove yourself, the constant chase for more, the imaginary future you feel pressured to reach. These things sit on your shoulders every day without you realizing it. You wake up and your mind immediately fills with unfinished tasks, worries about money, insecurities about your future, and guilt about the things you're not doing. Before you've even taken your first breath of the day, you're already working against yourself. This is why Lao Tzu said the mind becomes restless when we try to control too much. It becomes cloudy when we try to predict everything. The more you cling to your own ideas and fears, the more noise you create. The Tao teaches the opposite. Let go, and you see clearly. Release, and you regain your strength. The cup lesson. There's a famous Taoist teaching. A cup is useful because it's empty. You can pour water into it. Tea, medicine, whatever you need. If it were full, it would be useless. Your mind works the same way. The more full it is, the less space you have for clarity, focus, or wisdom. Lao Tzu believed that emptiness is not nothingness. Emptiness is potential. Emptiness is readiness. Emptiness is the ability to respond to life without being controlled by panic, fear, or unnecessary pressure. To empty your mind, you don't need to meditate for hours. You don't need to move to the mountains. You don't need to disconnect from the world. What you need is space, not physical space, mental space. A moment between your thoughts where your attention can rest. Letting go without force. Here's where many people misunderstand Taoism. They think letting go means giving up. They think emptying the mind means escaping responsibility. But Lao Tzu never taught laziness. He taught alignment. You don't stop acting. You stop forcing. You don't stop thinking. You stop clinging. You don't stop caring. You stop trying to control everything. When your mind empties, it becomes like calm water. It reflects things clearly. It moves naturally. It adjusts to life without breaking. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas appear when you're not trying? When you're in the shower, on a walk, lying in bed? That's because clarity appears in space, not in pressure. Lao Tzu believed that space is where your true direction comes from. When the mind lets go, it begins to guide itself. The sage and the stream. Lao Tzu once compared the calm mind to water. Water doesn't resist obstacles. It flows around them. Water doesn't panic. It doesn't fight. It finds the path of least resistance while always moving forward. Imagine standing beside a mountain stream. The water curls around stones without hesitation. It splits, joins again, rolls over roots, drops into small pools, and keeps going. It never stops moving, but it also never forces movement. This is how Lao Tzu wanted people to manage their thoughts. Instead of fighting your inner chaos, let it pass through you. Instead of forcing discipline, allow it to rise on its own. Instead of chasing answers, let silence reveal them. When you stop forcing the mind to behave, your thoughts settle on their own. Just like water becomes still when nothing disturbs it. Why people struggle with emptiness. Most people don't struggle with emptiness because it's difficult. They struggle because they're addicted to noise. They're addicted to stimulation, distraction, and constant mental movement. The world has trained them to stay overloaded. Quiet feels uncomfortable. Stillness feels unnatural. Lao Tzu would say that the discomfort you feel when your mind becomes quiet isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you've been running for too long. Think about how strange silence feels after days of noise. Think about how restless you become when you're not scrolling your phone. Think about how odd it feels to sit without doing anything. This is exactly why emptiness is powerful. It forces you to confront your inner world instead of burying it. Most people avoid emptiness because it exposes what they've been hiding. But Lao Tzu believed that facing this discomfort is how you return to your true self. The path to clear focus. If you want real discipline, you don't start by trying to push harder. You start by removing the mental clutter that blocks your focus. Lao Tzu believed that removing weight makes effort effortless. Here are the Taoist foundations of emptying the mind. 1. Stop feeding unnecessary thoughts. A thought only grows when you give it attention. Notice it, then let it drift away. 2. Create small pockets of stillness. 30 seconds of quiet breathing can reset your entire focus. You don't need long sessions. 3. Practice non-forcing. When studying, working, or training, don't attack the task. Approach it calmly and steadily. 4. Allow emotions to pass naturally. Don't resist frustration or stress. Observe it. Let it move through you like drifting clouds. 5. Don't cling to identity. You're not your anxiety. You're not your doubts. These are temporary weather patterns in the mind. With these steps, you begin to experience a different kind of discipline. Not the discipline of pushing harder, but the discipline of flowing smarter. The story of the archer. There's an old Taoist story about an archer who was unbeatable in practice, but constantly failed in competition. No matter how skilled he was, the moment the crowd watched him, his hands began to shake. A sage told him, "Your problem is not the bow. It's the burden you put on yourself." When the archer realized he was trying too hard to win, his mind became crowded with fear. His attention was on the prize, not the shot. When he emptied his mind, his arrows found their mark effortlessly. This is how Lao Tzu defined true mastery. Action without strain, skill without tension, clarity without noise. The return to stillness. Near the end of his teachings, Lao Tzu often repeated one core message. The world is loud, but the truth is quiet. If you want to master your mind, you must step out of the noise long enough to hear yourself again. A quiet mind isn't empty. It's aware. A quiet mind isn't weak. It's steady. A quiet mind isn't passive. It's precise. When you empty your mind, you stop reacting to life, and you start directing it. You stop fighting yourself, and you start aligning with something deeper. You begin to move with intention instead of panic. And slowly, your inner world transforms. Stress feels lighter. Focus becomes easier. Discipline becomes natural. And your thoughts finally fall into place instead of trapping you. This is the Tao of emptying the mind. It's not about doing more. It's about removing what blocks your clarity. It's about giving yourself the space to sense the next step instead of forcing it. It's about remembering that emptiness is not a void, but a beginning. In this silence, your true strength appears. Chapter 3. The Discipline of Effortless Action, Wu Wei. Most people imagined discipline as a kind of inner battle. You push yourself. You grind. You struggle. You force your way through life like someone dragging a boulder up a hill. To them, discipline means tension. It means pressure. It means constantly fighting your own mind. But Lao Tzu taught something radically different. He believed the highest form of discipline doesn't feel like discipline at all. It feels natural, smooth, quiet, precise. It flows like water. It moves like breath. It acts without resistance. He called it Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action. But the truth is more subtle. Wu Wei doesn't mean doing nothing. And it doesn't mean letting your life drift without intention. It means aligning your actions so perfectly with your nature, your values, and your environment that effort becomes effortless. To understand this, imagine an early morning village scene in the mountains of ancient China. The sky is pale blue. The roofs are still wet with dew. A craftsman shapes bamboo into a bough. He moves slowly, almost gently, turning the bamboo over a small flame. His hands don't tremble. His breathing is steady. His mind is clear. He isn't forcing the material. He follows its natural curve. He listens to where it wants to bend. A young apprentice watches, confused. "How do you do it so easily?" he asks. The craftsman smiles. "When you push bamboo, it snaps. When you follow it, it reveals its strength." This is Wu Wei. The more you force your life, the more it breaks. The more you align with what's natural, the more powerful you become. The paradox of forcing yourself. Lao Tzu believed that self-control collapses when pressure becomes too high. Think about how often you've tried to change something in your life by forcing yourself. You try to focus harder. You try to stop procrastinating. You try to wake up earlier. You try to be calm. You try to be productive. And the harder you try, the more resistance you feel. This is why many people burn out. They misunderstand the nature of discipline. They believe that pushing themselves is the only way to improve. But pushing creates tension, and tension drains your strength. The Tao teaches the opposite. True discipline comes from removing friction, not increasing force. It comes from clearing the path, not building more walls. When effort becomes aligned with your nature, you move forward almost without noticing the work. That's why some people suddenly find themselves enjoying what they used to dread. They discover a flow, a rhythm, a natural pace. This is Wu Wei beginning to take hold. Understanding flow the Taoist way. Modern people talk about flow state, but they rarely understand the deeper meaning behind it. Flow is not just intense focus. It's unblocked action. It's the moment when your energy moves without resistance. In Taoism, flow is not something you chase. It's something you return to. Imagine a mountain river. When a stone blocks it, the water doesn't stop. It finds another path. It moves around the obstacle effortlessly. This is how Lao Tzu wants people to approach challenges. If something feels impossible, don't push harder. Shift the angle. Change the timing. Adjust your approach. Let your discipline be flexible, not rigid. People often think flexibility is weakness. But in Taoism, flexibility is mastery. A tree that bends in the storm survives. A tree that refuses to bend snaps in half. Lao Tzu's discipline is the discipline of the bending tree. The fisherman's story. There's a Taoist story about a fisherman who caught more fish than anyone else on the river. Yet he seemed to do almost nothing. While others threw their nets aggressively, cursed the water, fought the current, and exhausted themselves, he simply sat quietly in his boat. He watched the river. He felt the movement of the water. He waited for the right moment. When the fish came near, he lifted his net with calm precision. No struggle, no frustration, no wasted effort. A young man asked him, "How do you catch so many fish without trying?" The fisherman replied, "I try, just not against the river." This is the spirit of Wu Wei, acting with intention, but without fighting the natural flow of things. How Wu Wei builds unbreakable discipline. At first, effortless action seems like a paradox. How can discipline be effortless? How can you achieve great things without pushing yourself constantly? Here is the key. Wu Wei doesn't eliminate effort. It eliminates unnecessary effort. You still work. You still train. You still study. You still build your life. But you stop doing it in a way that drains you. Here's how Wu Wei creates stronger discipline than force ever could. 1. You stop wasting energy on resistance. When you aren't fighting yourself, your mind becomes lighter. 2. You follow a rhythm instead of forcing one. Your habits become consistent because they fit who you are. 3. You stop burning out. You conserve strength by moving efficiently. 4. You become more aware. A calm mind notices opportunities faster. 5. You become precise. You act with intention instead of panic. Lao Tzu believed that most people lose discipline because they fight their own nature. They try to force habits that don't match their energy, their personality, or their environment. Wu Wei teaches you to build discipline that fits you, not discipline that crushes you. Dropping the ego. One of the deeper teachings behind Wu Wei is this: the ego creates resistance. The ego wants control. The ego wants results now. The ego wants perfection. The ego wants to prove something. But the ego is impatient, fearful, and easily threatened. When you act from the ego, your thoughts tighten. Your actions stiffen. Your focus becomes clouded. Lao Tzu taught that effort becomes effortless when you remove the ego from the equation. Take a writer who stares at a blank page for hours. They freeze up because they're thinking about results, judgments, expectations. But when they stop caring about being perfect, their words flow. Take a martial artist who trains while trying to impress his teacher. His movements become rigid. But when he stops performing and simply moves, his strikes become clean. Take a student who panics before an exam. The fear of failure traps their mind. But when they breathe and return to the present, their clarity returns. Wu Wei is impossible when the ego is in charge. It becomes natural when the ego steps aside. The sage and the bowstring. There is a scene often painted in Taoist scrolls. A sage practicing archery in a quiet forest. His feet are steady. His posture relaxed. He draws the bowstring back slowly, without shaking. Not because he is forcing stillness, but because nothing inside him is fighting the movement. He inhales. He exhales. He releases the arrow. The arrow flies straight, not through force, but through alignment. When a student asks him how he maintains such precision, the sage answers, "You miss when you try to hit," meaning the moment you chase the result, you disconnect from the action. You break the flow. You lose harmony with the present moment. This is the secret behind effortless discipline. The process becomes the purpose. When you let go of the outcome, your mind settles into the action itself. And that's when your best work appears. Finding your natural pace. Another key part of Wu Wei is understanding your natural rhythm. People often force routines that don't match who they are. They push themselves into schedules that make them miserable. And then they wonder why their discipline falls apart. Lao Tzu teaches that you become unstoppable when you work with your nature, not against it. Some people think clearly in the morning. Some focus better at night. Some learn fast in short bursts. Some go deeper with long sessions. Discipline is not one size fits all. You must align your habits with the flow of your own energy. When you do, your productivity rises without extra force. Your mind becomes sharper. Your motivation grows naturally. Just like water finds the easiest path, you must find a rhythm that allows your mind to move freely. When stillness becomes power. In Taoism, stillness is not the opposite of action. It is the foundation of all effective action. When you pause before reacting, you gain clarity. When you breathe before speaking, you gain control. When you slow down before deciding, you gain wisdom. When you relax before working, you gain focus. Stillness is not inactivity. It's preparation. It's alignment. It's the moment your inner world settles, so your outer actions become precise. A warrior who rushes loses balance. A warrior who grounds himself becomes unstoppable. Life without excess struggle. Lao Tzu didn't want people to live soft lives. He wanted them to live aligned lives. His teachings are not about avoiding work. They're about removing unnecessary suffering. You still face challenges. You still train your mind. You still work toward your goals. But you stop dragging a boulder and start walking a path. You stop fighting your nature and start expressing it. And slowly, something powerful happens. Your actions feel lighter. Your mind feels calmer. Your discipline becomes stable. You flow through tasks that used to drain you. This is the transformation Wu Wei creates. Not through pressure, not through force, not through sheer willpower, but through harmony between who you are and what you do. In this harmony, effort becomes effortless, and discipline becomes your natural state. Chapter 4. The Warrior Who Walks Softly. How Taoist Discipline Shapes an Unbreakable Mind. There is a certain kind of strength that doesn't look like strength. It doesn't roar. It doesn't flex. It doesn't announce itself. It lives quietly inside a person, steady and calm, like a lantern glowing in the dark. This is the strength Lao Tzu wanted people to build. He believed the most powerful warrior is not the one who fights the loudest battles, but the one who has mastered his inner world so completely that destruction cannot touch him. A warrior whose mind is clear, whose emotions are steady, and whose actions are deliberate becomes impossible to break. He called this the soft warrior. Not soft as in weak, soft as in controlled, soft as in fluid, soft as in untouchable. Because when the mind becomes soft, it becomes flexible. And when it becomes flexible, nothing can snap it. The quiet warrior. Picture a mountain path at dawn. Mist hangs in the air. The wind is gentle, brushing over the leaves like a whisper. A lone Taoist warrior walks along the narrow path, barefoot, his robes brushing lightly against the stones. He carries no armor, no heavy weapons, only a wooden staff and an unshakable calmness. As he walks, he observes everything without reacting. The sound of distant running water, the movement of tree branches, the shifting of the mist. His awareness is sharp, not because his mind is tense, but because it's open. A young student once asked such a warrior, "How do you defend yourself without armor?" The warrior answered, "Armor is what you need when your mind is untrained. When you understand yourself, you understand all threats. You stay one breath ahead of danger." This is the essence of Taoist discipline. Strength through awareness, not aggression. Mastery through softness, not force. When softness becomes a weapon. Many people misunderstand softness. They assume that if you are gentle, you will be pushed around. But Lao Tzu taught that softness is the highest form of power because it adapts. It endures. It survives what rigidity cannot. Think of water. Water is soft to the touch, but it cuts through stone. Water yields, but it never breaks. Water flows around obstacles effortlessly, while mountains eventually crumble. Lao Tzu often said, "Nothing in the world is softer than water, yet nothing is more powerful." This is the secret behind Taoist discipline. You become unbreakable by learning how to bend. How modern people break themselves. Look at how people approach self-control today. They try to crush bad habits. They force themselves into routines. They suppress emotions until they explode. They pile pressure onto their minds like stones on a sinking boat. And then they wonder why they collapse under stress. Why burnout creeps in. Why their discipline collapses without warning. Why they stay stuck repeating the same cycles. Force can create short-term results, but force always cracks under enough pressure. Lao Tzu's system builds discipline that doesn't crack because it isn't held together by tension. It's held together by clarity, harmony, and intention. A soft mind cannot be broken. The discipline of relaxed strength. One of the most misunderstood parts of Taoist discipline is this. Relaxation is not the opposite of strength. It is the foundation of it. A tense mind cannot focus. A tense body wastes energy. A tense heart reacts impulsively. Relaxation creates space. Space creates clarity. Clarity creates control. And control creates discipline. When a martial artist moves, he doesn't tighten his muscles until the last fraction of a second. His movements are fluid, loose, alive. If he clenches too early, he becomes slow. If he clenches too long, he loses endurance. Lao Tzu applies this same principle to every part of life. Your career, your relationships, your concentration, your habits, your emotional well-being. Relax first, then act. This is the discipline behind softness, releasing the inner resistance. A Taoist master once took his student to a river and handed him a long bamboo stick. "Break it," the master said. The student snapped it easily. Then the master picked up a stalk of fresh green bamboo. "Break this," The student tried. He twisted it, pulled it, bent it. But the bamboo didn't break. It bent, swayed, and returned to its shape. The master smiled. Hardness breaks. Softness survives. Lao Tzu believed the mind works the same way. When your thoughts become rigid, when you cling too tightly to outcomes, expectations, perfection, or fear, you snap under pressure. But when you learn to bend, you survive. You adapt. You stay whole. Softness is not the absence of discipline. Softness is the source of discipline. How soft warriors handle stress. Consider the modern person under stress. The deadlines, the pressure to achieve, the constant noise, the fast pace of everything. Most people react by pushing harder, moving faster, tightening their mental grip. But Taoist discipline teaches something counterintuitive. When life speeds up, you slow down. When pressure rises, you become still. When emotions surge, you breathe deeper. When chaos spreads, you observe quietly. This is not withdrawal. This is mastery. Because in slowness, you stay sharp. In stillness, you see clearly. In softness, you hold your power. A soft warrior steps into stress the way a leaf steps into a river. Lightly, freely, without resistance. He allows the force of the moment to pass around him instead of fighting against it. And because of this, he stays intact. The discipline of non-reactivity. A trained Taoist warrior does not respond to the world automatically. He creates space between stimulus and response. He watches himself. He watches his thoughts. He watches his feelings. Self-observation is one of the deepest forms of discipline. Most people react instantly. They speak without thinking. They panic before analyzing. They quit before understanding. The soft warrior sees emotions rise, but does not become them. He sees fear appear, but he does not obey it. He sees anger spark, but he does not feed it. He chooses his actions. He chooses his pace. He chooses his timing. This is the discipline that modern people rarely practice, but desperately need. When you move lightly, you move precisely. There is a moment in traditional Taoist sword training when the master tells the student to stop gripping the handle tightly. Loosen your hand, the master says. Let the sword move with you, not against you. Only when the student relaxes does the blade become an extension of his body. Every movement becomes cleaner. Every cut becomes faster. Every shift becomes intentional. This is what happens when you apply softness to your everyday life. Your decisions become sharper. Your focus becomes cleaner. Your actions become more aligned. Your energy lasts longer. Softness is not passive. Softness is precision. The soft warrior's way through conflict. Taoism teaches that conflict is not always something to dominate. Sometimes it is something to redirect. Sometimes it is something to avoid. Sometimes it is something to absorb and neutralize. The soft warrior understands all three. When confronted with aggression, he doesn't instantly push back. He observes. He evaluates. He responds with the smallest necessary action. When confronted with emotional conflict, he doesn't get dragged into the storm. He stays centered, letting the emotion pass through without taking root. When confronted with mental conflict, inner doubt, fear, anxiety, he returns to the breath, the body, the present moment. Lao Tzu believed that the warrior who walks softly wins battles without injuries, externally and internally. Building the soft warrior mindset today. You don't need robes, a mountain temple, or a bamboo staff to become a soft warrior. You only need awareness and practice. Here are the foundations of modern Taoist discipline. 1. Move lightly. Avoid overcomplicating tasks. Cut friction. Remove clutter. 2. Breathe before responding. This small pause is the gate to clarity. 3. Release tension from your shoulders, jaw, and hands. A relaxed body creates a relaxed mind. 4. Do more with less force. Efficiency over intensity. 5. Stop fighting everything. Flow with challenges instead of pushing against them. 6. Focus on consistency, not perfection. Softness is stable. Rigidity collapses. 7. Let go of expectations. Free yourself from unnecessary pressure. 8. Trust timing. Not every action needs to happen now. 9. See emotions without becoming them. This builds resilience. 10. Return to calmness again and again. Calmness is not a mood. It's a discipline. The unbreakable mind emerges from softness. The reason Taoist discipline creates such deep inner strength is that it builds resilience from the inside out. It trains your mind to stay flexible in chaos. It trains your emotions to stay light. It trains your actions to stay intentional. Rigid minds break under pressure. Soft minds survive any storm. This is why Lao Tzu's warrior walks softly. Not because he is weak, but because he understands power. A mind that flows cannot be shattered. A mind that bends cannot be defeated. A mind that stays soft cannot be controlled by fear. Softness is the armor. Softness is the weapon. Softness is the discipline. The warrior who walks softly becomes unbreakable, not by force, but by harmony. Chapter 5. The Final Strategy. The Tao of Mastering Yourself. There comes a moment in every journey of self-mastery when you look at your own reflection and realize something simple and terrifying. No enemy has ever done more damage than your own mind. Not your past, not your circumstances, not the people who doubted you. Every inner battle you've ever fought came down to one truth. The hardest person you will ever learn to lead is yourself. Lao Tzu understood this deeply. This is why his final strategy, the highest level of Taoist discipline, is not about controlling others. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to control anyone. It's about becoming aligned. The last gate, becoming whole. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu hints that most people live divided lives. The body wants one thing, the mind wants another. The emotions pull in a third direction. The ego demands attention. The world adds pressure. And somewhere in that chaos, the self collapses into fragments. A fragmented person is easy to shake. A fragmented person is easy to manipulate. A fragmented person is easy to confuse, overwhelm, or exhaust. But the person who becomes whole becomes untouchable. The final strategy is the art of returning to wholeness. Lao Tzu called it returning to the source. It means realigning your thoughts, your actions, your values, your purpose, your inner voice, until everything moves as a single force instead of scattered impulses. This is not mystical. This is practical. A unified person doesn't waste energy fighting themselves. The enemy that lives in the noise. Think of your mind like a battlefield. Every thought, every desire, every fear is a soldier. Most people have troops running in every direction. Some fight for pleasure. Some fight for security. Some fight for validation. Some fight for old wounds. Some fight for the future. It is chaos. It is disorder. It is Sun Tzu's first principle of defeat. An army without unity collapses before the first strike. Lao Tzu approached this differently. He didn't tell you to conquer the noise. He told you to quiet the commander. Because when the commander becomes still, the troops fall into line. The final strategy is learning how to lead yourself with calm authority, not through force, not through shame, not through willpower, but through understanding. The Taoist warrior wins not by fighting, but by resetting the entire battlefield inside his mind. The principle of Wu Wei, effortless alignment. People often misunderstand Lao Tzu's most famous principle, Wu Wei. They translate it as non-action, which sounds like laziness or passivity. But the real meaning is this: act in a way that doesn't fight your own nature. Act from alignment, not struggle. Act from clarity, not confusion. It's the difference between swimming upstream and letting the river carry you. When you move with the current of who you truly are, discipline stops feeling like punishment. It becomes frictionless, automatic, effortless. That is the final strategy. Not forcing yourself into shape, but shaping your life so your best self emerges naturally. What happens when you stop forcing? Most modern people approach life with one mindset: push until something breaks. Push your body. Push your deadlines. Push your emotions down. Push yourself past limits you never understood. Push even when you're exhausted. They confuse discipline with self-abuse. Lao Tzu rejected this entirely. His method was quieter, but far more powerful. You don't push the mind into focus. You remove the things that scatter it. This is how nature works. Water becomes clear when mud settles on its own. The mind becomes clear when you stop stirring it. The final strategy is not about adding more to your life. It's about removing what blocks your natural clarity. Distraction, overthinking, tension, fear, ego, comparison. Remove these, and what remains is focus. The discipline of letting go. Lao Tzu said, to hold, you must first open your hand. The final strategy requires letting go, not of goals, not of ambition, not of dreams, but of the illusions wrapped around them. Let go of the need for everything to happen now. Let go of the fear that you are behind. Let go of the belief that force equals progress. Let go of the stories you repeat about yourself. Let go of the pressure to prove something to the world. Because every time you let something unnecessary fall away, the path becomes clearer. Discipline increases not when you hold tighter, but when you release the weight you've been gripping for years. When the mind aligns, life aligns. Here is what alignment looks like in practice. You don't need motivation to focus. Your environment supports it. You don't need reminders to improve your habits. Your identity supports it. You don't need to fight your emotions. Your clarity supports them. You don't need to force yourself into routines. Your nature supports movement, rest, balance. The aligned person becomes consistent without strain, because consistency becomes who they are, not what they try to do. This is why the final strategy is so powerful. It makes discipline feel light. Lao Tzu's final 3 teachings of self-mastery. Near the end of his writings, Lao Tzu left 3 final principles that act like the last keys to the entire Taoist system. 1. Know when to stop. Most people ruin their progress by pushing past the point of clarity. They go too far. They work too long. They turn passion into burnout. The wise warrior stops one moment before depletion. This preserves strength. It preserves discipline. It preserves focus. Stopping is skill. Stopping is strategy. Stopping is control. 2. Hold to the center. When life pulls you in every direction, return to the breath. Return to your values. Return to your purpose. Return to the quiet place inside that cannot be shaken. This is the anchor of the warrior mind. The world can storm around you, but you do not move. 3. Let things flow. This does not mean being passive. It means trusting your process, trusting that clarity will return, trusting that effort will compound, trusting that progress can be gentle, trusting that surrender is a form of strength. When you let life move, momentum builds naturally. This is why Taoist warriors could be calm in chaos. They trusted flow, the final victory. In the end, mastering your mind with Taoist discipline does not make you perfect. It makes you clear. Clear enough to see your impulses before they control you. Clear enough to step out of stress instead of drowning in it. Clear enough to focus deeply without forcing it. Clear enough to live your life in harmony with your nature. This clarity is the final victory. Not conquering the world, not conquering others, not conquering your past, but conquering the one battlefield you can never walk away from, yourself. When you reach this point in the journey, something subtle begins to shift. You look at your routines, your reactions, your impulses, and you notice that the old patterns no longer control you the way they once did. The noise that used to cloud your mind feels distant now. The chaos has softened. Your thoughts move with more intention, as if they've learned to walk instead of sprint. You've taken ideas that most people treat like lofty theories and turned them into living practice. You've seen how discipline grows not from pressure, but from clarity. You've learned that strength isn't loud. It's quiet. It's patient. It's built in the moments when no one is watching, when the world expects you to slip, but you tighten your grip and hold your line. Every step from here carries weight, because you now understand the truth that Musashi and every disciplined mind discovered. Mastery has no finish line. You don't graduate from discipline. You return to it every morning, every night, every choice. It becomes a companion, not a burden. And as your life shifts, people may start calling you extreme or obsessed. They may not understand why you work the way you do. Let them talk. Let them guess. They don't know the battles you've fought inside your own head. They don't understand the cost of staying the same. You're walking a path that only the committed follow. A path where chaos ends. A path where your mind is no longer the enemy, but the weapon. So before you go, take a breath. Look at who you were when you started. Then look at who you are now. That transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened one focused moment at a time. If this journey helped you see something in yourself, share it. If it gave you strength, pass that strength to someone who needs it. And if you're ready to keep building a mind that can't be shaken, then stay with us. There's more ahead. Your story isn't ending here. This is only the first chapter of a much stronger version of you.